The NFL draft is just around the corner.
Combine.
We just wrapped up college football season. We just had the Super Bowl. So now we're pivoting to the perfect mix between college football and pro football.
Perfect.
The NFL draft, we get to talk about the best college players and how they're going to project the next level where they're going to get taken. I want to talk quarterbacks. We haven't seen the combine yet. So these are going to be our pre-combine NFL draft quarterback rankings. After the combine, we're going to look at what they did, see how they ran, see how they measured in, threw the ball, and reevaluate heading into the actual draft. But this is pre-combine rankings. I want to start. I want everyone to give off their first pick, and then we'll do like 1, 2, 3, and then you can read off the rest of your list, however deep you go. I kind of talked about this a lot throughout the season, but I don't think there's a question at 1 for quarterback for me. I think it's Cam Ward. I think he not only statistically showed it throughout the year, he was one of 2 finalists for the Heisman at quarterback. And I think he just showed not only arm strength, but creativity in the pocket. He extended plays. The amount of game-winning drives. This defense was awful. They had at Miami. They had good offensive weapons all around. The line was a little shaky. Not an unbelievable coach. But Cam Ward found ways to win games. You could say what you want about the competition. They were down 3 scores in like the late second half in a lot of these games, whether you look at on the road at Cal, College Game Day, or other games throughout the year, where he just single-handedly leads 75-yard drive, 75-yard drive, 75-yard drive, and just spectacular plays for touchdowns. I think he has the it factor to be a successful, superstar quarterback. I think he's the only quarterback in this draft that realistically is ready to start day 1, in my opinion. So I'm going Cam Ward as my number 1 quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, if we're ranking quarterbacks in NFL draft, they normally are going top 10 at worst. Like
I
top
think he
5
should
for
go
most
1.
Saying for the most part. So my number 1 is blank because I don't think any of these quarterbacks should go top 10 in the draft. But just being nice and having a good time.
Quarterback ranking.
Quarterback rankings, just making sure I'm going to put Cam Ward up there. I don't think he shows the most ability. I don't care what defense he played or how he's playing. He murdered every team. And to be honest, he has spurts where he actually looks unstoppable, whether it is reads or he's not making mistakes or staying in the pocket. He has a little work to do like all these quarterbacks, but I do agree with Tyler. If I had to choose any of these quarterbacks to throw into a situation and have to be good immediately, it's going to be Cam Ward, so I would probably go him 1.
Mike, do you agreeing with us?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I have Cam Ward at number 1 as well. I like, obviously people kind of get on him about the way that he handled was it Cal game, or the week before that I think was Virginia Tech, where they played really, really close against teams that they were heavily favored against. But I mean, it put Cam Ward into these high pressure situations and he was able to deliver. I think throughout the season, he was also able to deliver on just a regular and consistent basis. Obviously, he's a human being. He's going to have faults. He's going to have, interceptions or bad plays, but
he didn't have a whole lot of picks for the amount of time he threw the ball. 7 interceptions, 39 touchdowns.
Yeah, and again, for the amount of passes thrown, that's actually a really, really good ratio. But again, everybody has a couple mistakes here and there, but for the most part, I think he showed the most competency in the position.
All right, Mario, is this a consensus number 1 overall right here?
Nope.
Give it to me.
Yeah, no, number 1.
Shadon! Mike's back. We can say Shadon now.
Look at him.
Shadon.
Number one, I think I have, in my opinion, the most pro-ready in terms of you just threw in the game right now, who could go out there and execute the best, and that is Shedeur Sanders. I don't think he has the most upside, but I just think if you're taking a prospect right now, and the trend seems to be you're throwing these guys basically as starters.
As soon as day 1 is possible.
As soon as day 1 is possible.
And we saw 5 rookie starters this year.
Exactly. So I just think he's probably your best bet. I like his ability to place the ball accurately. I don't know. To me, he's the most impressive. Not really what he did during the season, but just like his ability right now.
Okay. So, at 2, would you then have Cam Ward?
At 2, I have Jackson Dart.
Wow,
I love
disgusting.
it. No, I love it.
No.
Shout out JD.
We'll get to Cam Ward later. I have some good things to say about Cam, but no, Jackson Dart to me.
Wow.
I think he has, in my opinion, the second most upside in this class. I like just first off his frame, bigger person, huge arm. And when you talk about arm talent, I mean, I think he's right there with Cam Ward. And he just seems kind of like some guys just know how to figure it out and just win, just kind of whatever way possible, whether it's like a clean game where he's just efficient or he's just going to have to throw for 1,000,000 yards and will his team into, finding ways to win. I don't know. I like what he did. Jackson Dart number 2.
Wow. Mike,
All right. This is going to be a hot
is
one.
Shedeur going 2 for you?
There's no way in hell
Okay.
that Shedeur should be drafted. But
All right. Draft him.
Drafted.
whatever.
That's a hot take.
Anyways, my number 2 is going to be a man who I called a supercar the entire year, and his name is McLaren McCord. Kyle McCord had unreal statistical numbers for the regular season, throwing for, I think, in the top 3 for touchdowns and passing yards.
He was
One.
1 for yards.
1 for yards for
Not
sure,
very
and
good
I think he was top.
He
was up there for touchdowns for sure, I think.
5 for touchdowns
Okay,
with 34 and 1 by a while for yards, 4,779 yards. Cam Ward was 2 by a decent margin with 43-13.
Yeah. So again, statistically, I think McLaren has shown his ability to, just get the ball into receivers' hands to get those numbers up. That's number 1. Number 2, I love his adaptability. And by that, I mean his ability to switch schools, switch entirely new offenses. Granted, he's playing not Big Ten defenses anymore. He's playing in the ACC, which is significantly easier. Helps a lot. Helps a lot. But
There's a trend with your 1 and 2 being transfers to the ACC.
well, maybe. But regardless,
as well.
regard me. I think although the ACC is definitely an easier defensive conference, you still need the ability to, throw the ball and make the plays. And I think these two players have shown they could do that.
Yeah.
Again, getting back into it, I love the fact that he's able to adapt into a new offensive scheme and do it to the literal highest ability that they could have dreamed of.
Yeah.
So
I can't put Jack. I like Jackson and I like Kyle McCord, but I can't quite put him at 2. I mean, for me, it's clear Cam Ward 1 and Shedeur has got to be 2. I really like Shedeur Sanders. I just don't think he is. I just don't see the outcome that he becomes a top 5 NFL quarterback, and that's. I don't
I don't see
know.
it for anyone.
Well, no, I guess maybe that's an argument you can make for this entire draft class. I see a world where, like, in 5 years down the line, you see a Cam Ward in the top 5 quarterbacks just with his. I think his upside is tremendous. Shedeur, maybe I'm missing something, but just he's not extremely fast. I know he was the most sacked quarterback in football, so you see him. It looks like he's sometimes holding on the ball for a long time, but again, this Colorado team wasn't as good as a lot of these other teams that we're talking about. So it's hard to kind of reflect that going forward. I know he had 4 wins his first season at Colorado, and they improved to 9 the next season. So there's a lot to like about Shedeur. I think he's an extremely mature passer. I think he takes the high percentage throw a lot of the times, which is really good. You see his completion percentage is outstanding. I just don't think his arm is as spectacular as Cam Ward or Jackson Dart. But again, I think he's probably the second most pro ready. So I got to have him at 2. They're probably the only 2 quarterbacks I would take inside the top 20 picks.
Yeah, I mean, this is just the most disgusting take of all time. But, I just have a feeling about something. Got to ride with it. My number 2 quarterback in this draft is Will Howard.
I knew you were going to say that. That is insane.
One thing I love is just having the tallest, biggest frame in the court. He's the tallest quarterback. He's 6'4". He's probably the only true dual threat quarterback besides Jalen Milroe, in my opinion. Jackson Dart can run. I don't think as well. I think Will Howard can run better if he wants to. People don't, for some reason, I don't get, overlooked his stats. It's not like he was throwing screens or anything. He threw the ball downfield a lot, and he was the 6th most passing yards in the entire nation. He was I think it was 4 touchdowns. He had top 3 completion rating, and he was unbelievable in clutch moments.
Yeah, his stats are awesome. The receivers didn't hurt.
No, I'm saying, no, it's something you could say the receivers, but it wasn't like screens or anything. They were, a lot of these balls were, in my opinion, great balls. And my thing is in the biggest moments, the biggest games, all these other quarterbacks didn't have to do it. None of them we got to see. I know they were playing Cal or anything.
Great point.
Will Howard, in the biggest games against the toughest defenses, came out and balled every time. He looked perfect in every single game. He had 1 bad play throughout the entire playoffs, in my opinion. He turned around a new leaf. He could throw the ball. He could run the ball. He's good in clutch situations. He could fit in tight spots. I think he could read a good defense. I personally think just because of prospect-wise, the height and just the run, you're
a height supremacist.
I love it. No, I love tall quarterbacks. It works. It's 100%.
A Brock Osweiler type of guy.
I mean, exactly.
A day 1 draft.
No, yeah. But I just think I think all these quarterbacks are going to be development quarterbacks, and I think Will Howard, with already being tested and already showing the stats, showing the yards, transferring, doing everything so well, he could be number 2,
All right.
personally.
Now give me your 3. We're gonna go across and give the rest of our 3s, and then each of us are gonna run off the full list because I don't want to keep.
That's
It'll
fair,
get
yeah.
confusing if we
Bouncing
keep
back.
talking.
Yeah.
But top 3 is reasonable.
Yeah.
So you got Cam Ward, Will Howard. Are we seeing Shador top 3?
And what we should have, this guy, I mean, yeah, Shador's 3.
Okay.
He should be 2, but I'm a Will Howard guy.
That's
And
fair.
I just think in big games, I saw what I needed to see out of Will Howard. Probably not going to be on a top 5 on 95% of lists. But yeah, Shador Sanders, everything is there. He did a lot on a team that I think the season 2 years ago was more impressive than last year. Terrible team, terrible offensive line. I think they got built better this year, and the mistakes brightened, and it was kind of more on him. Last year, I mean, he was doing everything he can, fighting for his life. Or 2 years ago, he's fighting for his life. I think you give him pieces around him, he could be very good. And I've seen everything. I mean, he's talented, 100%. Could throw the ball like crazy. He can run. He out of the pocket. He's very good. Surprisingly, he's slow, but he makes good judgment calls. I know you said his completion percentage is good. He has the right reads. He just,
Oh yeah, best in college football, 74%.
yeah. He just needs. I just think he needs to get rid of the ball a little earlier.
Brees-esque.
Drew Brees-esque, but yeah, Shador's my 3.
Okay, yeah. At 3, I have Jackson Dart, and it's kind of funny having Cam Ward and Shador at 1 and 2. And the reason, I mean, I do lean on stats a little bit, but it's mostly because of how I think they're going to project going forward. I think they have what it takes to succeed. But you look at what Jackson Dart did. I mean, he played in the SEC for multiple years as a starting quarterback against the hardest defenses week in and week out of any conference. I know the SEC, the teams weren't as good this past season, and we saw there was only one of them. In Texas, it was a newcomer that made it in there. But I mean, as a conference overall, I mean, the Big Ten is great, but they're very top heavy. You know, the other 60% of teams in the Big Ten aren't tremendous.
Nebraska.
ACC doesn't really have
Iowa
defenses.
State.
Yeah, Iowa State's not in the Big Ten, but thanks, Mike.
No, sorry.
But Jackson Dart put up QB3 stats in the league, in the SEC, on an Ole Miss team that really did have some holes and a lot of injuries at the wide receiver
Missed their
position.
best receiver.
All
late.
year. Yeah, he threw for 4,279 yards, 29 touchdowns, only 6 picks, completed 69% of his passes. I mean, when you're looking at stats that you can hang your hat on saying this guy can do it against elite defenses with big offensive line, big defensive line, it's Jackson Dart. I think he will sneak into the first round. I would love for the Steelers to draft Jackson Dart. I know this isn't a Steelers conversation. I know we have different feelings about that, but I think he's for sure the 3rd best quarterback. I think there's a gap. Also, I think it's 1 pretty decent sized gap, 2 it's a lot smaller gap to Jackson Dart, and then there is quite a fall off to the QB4 in my opinion, which I'll get to later in my list. But Mike, who do you have at 3?
3 is another pretty hot take, but it's going to be Dylan Gabriel.
Wow.
I think that Oregon offense did not come close to how we thought they would be at the end of it. But I thought during the regular season, given the early season bumps and bruises that they had, he made the best out of his situation while not having his number 1 receiver.
Heisman finalist.
He was he?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Heisman
Yeah.
finalist.
All right, good for him. I mean, I just remember Genty getting snubbed. But
yeah.
regardless.
I was supporting your claim, but
I appreciate
sorry
that.
Sorry for that.
No, I appreciate it. But yeah, I feel like this Oregon team was, for the regular season while they were ranked number 1, I felt like they kind of deserved it. And I feel like that was 100% because of Dylan Gabriel, who was making the most out of the situation with having injuries on that offensive receiver core.
I'd say you definitely have the hottest take list so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's
With
going to continue
McCord
to
and-
stay getting hot.
All right, well, I'm excited to hear the rest of it.
Yeah.
Mario, give us your 3 and then just go ahead and recap the 1, 2, 3 and just run off the list if you want. You can just go through it.
Yeah, so number 3, told you I'd get to him. I have the QB with, in my opinion, the most upside, Cam Ward. I've been pretty consistent with Cam Ward. I think his ability is fantastic. I just think he's a little bit sloppy. I know like stats-wise on paper, everything looks great, but just from games, what I'd see a lot of throws where it's like DBs are dropping picks and kind of errant throws, and I don't know. To me, it just seems like when you get to the next level, you can't have your margin for error is so much smaller, and I think you really have to tighten up. And I think if he does, he could be amazing because I like his legs a lot. Arm talent, it's through the roof. But like I said, I just like the other guys more. Shador 1, Jackson Dart 2, Cam Ward 3.
Oh, yeah.
Number 4, Dylan Gabriel.
Wow, you're with Mike on this.
Damn.
I know. he shouldn't go this high. I just think like individually, he's really, really talented. I think he's really accurate, makes a lot of good reads. The big thing with him is just his frame, his size. It's tiny.
It's tough.
It's going to be really tough for him, but I still think he's the fourth most talented.
Yeah, he's 200-pound, 6 foot listed. I don't know if you want to call it.
he's-
I don't
there's no
think
way
he's-
he's 5'10".
there's no way he's 6 foot.
he's-
Yeah, but
it's the Drew Brees 6 foot.
yeah.
But I do think he seems very cerebral to me. It's not an easy offense
A
to learn.
cerebral guy.
Well, yeah, it's just not an easy offense to ever learn in Oregon because they love to just complicate everything.
Screens.
A lot of plays to remember. I think that helps a lot when in your development. So I got him at number 4. Number 5, middle of the pack, I got Will Howard. I think he's solid. Big frame, decent arm. Nothing really sticks out to me. He's
a
solid
winner.
though. Number 6, Tyler Show.
I love that. I got him
Tallest
up there.
quarterback. He's 6'5".
No, yeah.
Shout out
some-
Louisville.
Shout out
What a
Louisville.
pull.
No, this he has a huge arm. Huge arm.
No, he could toss the rock.
He doesn't seem like he's going to maybe be the best, but if you just go off just raw ability,
Maybe.
you can't sleep on this guy. Maybe. There's a chance.
Yeah, I don't know on that. That's a pull.
Number 7, Jalen Milroe. I've talked about Milroe before. Team's going to have to build an offense around him similar to Lamar Jackson. I just don't think he's as good of a passer as Lamar Jackson.
no.
So
no.
just don't really think he's going to be great, but maybe he surprised me because he is a freak athlete. Number 8, I got Curtis Rourke.
Shout out.
Shout out Curtis Rourke. That's Mike's guy.
Yeah,
I like him.
Felt like this was a good spot for him.
It feels
Good
good.
spot.
Yeah.
8 feels about
8's
right.
great.
Number 9, similar to Jalen Milroe, just like lesser in both categories, got Riley Leonard. Another dual threat guy. Don't think he's a good passer, and his legs are good, but he's not like the freak athlete like Milroe, so 9 seemed about good. And then number 10, I got Mike's guy, McLaren McCord. Boom.
One player here I noticed wasn't in that list is the jersey of the guy that Mike's wearing, Quinn Ewers. Mike, as you're heading into the rest of your, list, is Quinn at that 4 spot for you?
No, definitely not. I'm
We
smarter
agree.
than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm smarter than that. But
He's 5.
kind of, maybe. We'll see. We'll see.
5.5.
We'll see.
All right, let's hear this.
No, I'm actually gonna, throw in a little Jackson Dart at number 4.
Okay.
I'm gonna go number 5. I have to give it to a guy who beat Texas and Quinn Ewers, so gotta give it to Will Howard. I would probably go. No, actually, you know what? Screw it. I would go Quinn Ewers at 6, and the reason why is because he is the definition of a cerebral quarterback, a guy who wants to learn, wants to develop. If you watch how he played at Texas the first year he was there, his sophomore year. His freshman year, kind of, but like redshirt freshman year,
Sophomore year.
terrible. And then how he ended, unreal. Like the actual progression was unreal. So, you could pick some hairs, but
Just kind of like
that's just not true.
flipped
That's just not
upside down,
true.
yeah.
One overall prospect, 5-star, never winning a semifinal playoff game,
Just not true.
ending in style.
might not even be a first rounder.
What's not true about that?
Yeah,
No.
that's
I
not true.
don't want to get into it.
Okay.
But
He went Big 12 championship, lose the SEC, get to the same spot.
no, I don't want to talk about it.
He doesn't wanna
So,
talk
6 Quinn Ewers. I'm gonna go 7 Riley Leonard.
Wow.
8. God.
You don't have
Where's-
this far in
where's
your
Curtis?
list.
No,
Where's
well,
Curtis?
no.
This boy wrote
What?
3 players.
Where do you got your boy Curtis?
He's
at?
just pulling names now. He's got nothing on that page.
No, I would go, Curtis 8. And then I would go,
Just throw the name for him.
I just don't want to put Milroe in my list.
You still haven't said Shador.
I'm not going to.
Okay.
Shador's not a top 10
You can
quarterback.
continue.
All right. I'll rip it off. Thank you, Mike.
Amazing gate for Mike.
The Amazing Eight. I want that title up. Mike's Amazing Eight.
Yeah.
So 1, I had Cam Ward, 2, Shador Sanders, 3, Jackson Dart. We already talked about those guys. 4, I definitely have Kyle McCord. I think
McLaren.
he can just put up numbers. He reminds me a lot, and this is a weird comp, a really, really weird comp. But he feels like Bo Nix to me. Just from what he can do in the pros. I was not high on Bo Nix, and I was wrong on him. Bo Nix can complete a lot of passes. He can throw across the middle. He can throw the deep ball. He's really smart, calls a bunch of different plays. Like you said, McLaren McCord transferred from Ohio State, and he didn't do terribly there, to be completely honest.
Wasn't that bad.
And he went to Syracuse, broke their single season all-time passing record. It first by far in passing yards. And I think that will translate to the pros. So I think if you're looking for, a late day 1, early day 2 quarterback, maybe you get him in like the 3rd round. But I think he could be a guy that could sit on your bench for a couple years, and when he gets a chance, he might, surprise people. This isn't a day 1 starter by any means. Next, I do have Will Howard. I agree with Ryan. I think his frame's good and he is a winner. I just don't know how outstanding of a quarterback he'll be in the pros. I don't know too many teams maybe if a good team drafts him,
As a backup.
I think it's kind of like a plug
Jordan
and play.
Love would.
Yeah, like maybe sits for a while. I don't really know because I wasn't a Will Howard guy at Kansas State. I wasn't super impressed, but he did play really, really great in the 4 playoff games they had, and he won the national championship, so I really can't discount that. 6, I have Dylan Gabriel, and this was the one I thought the most on because I really didn't want him to put him this high, but I'm just not going to discount the fact that he was a Heisman finalist. I know the height's not fantastic, but I don't even think the upside's unbelievable. I just think there's a weird chance he turns out to be really good. I don't think he'll be average. I think he'll either not be in the league or he'll be a surprisingly good quarterback. Don't know how that projects. Don't know if he'll ever get the opportunity to do so because he's projected way down draft boards. We all have him way higher than, most mocks do. So I have Riley Leonard next. Second most upside in the class, in my opinion. I think his upside is Josh Allen. I think Riley Leonard is that type of guy that
has to be the opening
That's the clip. No, that's the clip. That's a short TikTok.
No, his upside is Josh Allen, if we're being honest. I mean, in the national championship, his first drive against this Ohio State defense was a 8.5-minute drive where he carried the ball 9 times for a touchdown.
He was running back. Come on.
No, he can run the ball. I think he actually can throw really well. I mean, his stats in the Natty were great. He played the best game a quarterback played against this Ohio State defense, and people were heavily discounting his passing all year. The Notre Dame offense just doesn't call for passing. He was throwing the ball at Duke, and he didn't have to do it at Notre Dame. It's just not the way they played. I think if he's put in the right spot, he can really, really develop into a good quarterback. And then last, I got Jalen Milroe, Quinn Ewers, and Curtis Rourke to round it out.
Yeah, I mean, that was amazing. Holy shit.
That made my day.
No,
Upside
great.
Josh Allen.
My 3 are Cam Ward, Will Howard, Shador. At 4, I have Jackson Dart. I've been on this guy his whole college career. He's kind of a backyard quarterback. He runs around and does his own thing, has crazy throws.
He figures it out.
He has crazy good plays.
He's very
weird
long.
bad plays. Very interesting, but I mean, I think he has a lot of upside. Number 5, I have McCord. I mean, the guy terrorized defense last year. Yeah. Anyone who could do that at any level, I think, has a chance in the pros. So putting up there. Number 6, pure off the ability of the future is Jalen Milroe. I think if you're a freak of nature, you deserve a chance. I mean, we saw with Lamar early. People were worried about his passing ability a lot.
This is pre-combine too. I'm real interested to see what he runs.
No, I'm saying if he goes nuts, Mel Kiper's going to go
I think
absurd
there's
on
a
this guy.
world Milroe runs like
4-4.
dude. No, I think
Sub?
lower. I think like he can.
4.39.
I'm dead serious.
He's fast.
I think he can run a 4.340.
He probably could.
I think he hit one of the top speeds in college football last year. I'm just saying. I think that's a pretty cool pre-combine take because I would not be shocked. Jalen Milroe goes out there, runs a 4.3, has a couple of those Zach Wilson pro
Top 5
day-esque
QB
throws,
draft. Yeah.
and all of a sudden you're
He
like,
has a powerful arm.
No,
huge arm.
Doesn't know where it's going, but
It's going somewhere.
Yeah, sorry, but I like that take.
No, yeah. My number 7, unfortunately, is Quinn Ewers. The guy still has an incredible pocket presence. I think he could throw the ball very well, personally speaking. I think there's a lot of development there, but we're talking about all these guys being 4th-year development quarterbacks. My number 8 is Dylan Gabriel. I mean, besides take away one game, freak of a year.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Oregon destroyed. I mean, everyone at Oregon has their number 1. It really wasn't an argument for most teams. Number 9, Riley Leonard. I mean, I was proved wrong, I would say. I was pretty drastic on how I didn't think he was that good. In the national championship, he played very well. Interested to see how he is in NFL. Maybe he gets a shot. Number 10, I like Mario. Shout out Louisville boy. Shout out Tyler Shaw. Tyler Shaw. I think he's just gonna. I mean, Louisville played well. They had spots. He threw the ball well, but I mean, this is just a shot in the dark. I mean, I
Yeah.
just think he'll do well.
No, that's fair.
Round it
No,
out.
but that's what those shots in the dark either pan out well or nothing.
But
So
you're the
I had
goat?
to throw a mid
it's
mid
great-
list at 6.
it's
Because then
great
if it
too.
works out, I look like a genius.
If it doesn't work, we're not
Exactly.
gonna go back in a year and watch this. But if
Yeah.
it works and you get a little Tyler Shaw,
You're
it's like,
You're
you
Johnson.
clip that bitch and you're posting it a year later. Boom,
You're famous.
Good to go. Instagram story.
It's like if Riley Leonard becomes Josh Allen in 7 years.
Second most upside in the draft. Second most upside in the draft. Let us know what you think in the comments about your quarterback rankings. Go ahead and drop your top 5, top 10, whatever. Who's the best quarterback in the class? This is a really polarizing one because last year we knew there were 4 or 5 going in the first.
We had it.
10
We had it
picks.
pretty locked in.
And so this was like the top of the draft class. You can see our quarterback. I mean, Mike had Dylan Gabriel. You had Dylan Gabriel at 3. There's a chance
he was
he's
the 5th, 6th
drafted in the 5th round, 6th round. So this is all over the place. Who knows where it's going? Let us know your thoughts.
Yeah.
Drop, subscribe.
All
It's
these
your first
guys
time
might
here.
just be bust. Like
Yeah,
no one
no one
knows.
hits. Who knows? Except for Cam Ward. But
Except for Quinn.
stick along with us. We're talking draft content all season up until the combine and the draft.
Oh, yeah.
And then we're getting into NFL preseason college football. Stay locked in.